good afternoon. Welcome to Tammy's Table. I am Tammy Gaines, and I am so happy that you're here today. For those who are new to the podcast, Tammy's Table is like that feeling that you have when you go to your mom's kitchen or to an auntie's kitchen, and people are sitting around and there's music playing and they're cooking and chatting and solving the problems of the world, mostly their own. That is what I wanted to capture on Tammy's Table. So welcome, pull up a chair, grab a seat. We're not going to grub today. We grubbed last week, but we're going to grub soon. But listen, I'm super excited. We're all about talking about building resilience. I think particularly in the world that we live in today, you got to learn how to bounce back and bounce back stronger. Despite what you're facing, and you're going to always face something. And as we look at the news and we look at the world that we live in, man, oh man, we'd be such a better place if people were more resilient, emotionally resilient, resilient in their relationships. So I am inviting you to take this journey with us to resilience. And I want to encourage everybody, if you're listening on Facebook or if you are on YouTube, you could type your comments in the chat and we'll see it and respond to it. So with that, I want to introduce my very special guest. She is amazing. And we laugh because I had to fly halfway around the world to India to meet my sister who lived in California. But I want to welcome Jen Saunders to the show. You there, JJ?
I am here. Okay, one
Awesome.
second.
Welcome.
We're trying to figure out. There we go. Oh my gosh. Brian, thank you. Yes, I am here, and I'm so happy that I traveled halfway across the world to meet my sister, Tammy Gaines. It's been such a pleasure.
Oh, man, absolutely. You inspired me for a couple of reasons, and I want to drill down into a few. First of all, so we met in India. We were speaking in front of whatever it was, 750,000 people. And we were working on our speeches, and somehow you realized that what you were being told to say was not in alignment with who you were. And I think that's so important. So can you talk about that journey, about, that journey from speaking your true self, which I think a lot of people just don't do?
Yeah, for sure. So in India, we'll just get right to the
Just get right to it.
facts of it. So I'm part of the LGBTQ community, and when I saw this come speak in India, I was drawn because it's what I do. It's what I was born for. Not necessarily speak in India, but just that opportunity and to travel and to enlighten and inspire and help people transform their lives. That's what I was born to do. And the road to get there hasn't always been an easy one, and I believe the listener can identify with that. And it takes a lot of rebellious acts to do that. So when I was interviewing, I guess would be the right process, trying to decide whether or not to go to India or if it was a good fit for me. I know that one thing they really wanted me to speak on, which actually was bothersome to me, was about being gay. And I was like, I don't really want to go, like, I'm so much more than that. That's just like a little sliver of my life.
Right.
And so for me, it was like finding a way to talk about. We also were asked to speak about our brands. We were there to promote our brands and what we do and how we show up in the world that way. And so,
Jen, I gotta interrupt and tell you something funny. So we were in the Bahamas at like the pre-training. Me and Melissa
that day.
And Brandon, yeah. And I guess Melissa talked to you during one of the breaks, and then they came back. They were like, "Hey, I think we're gonna have our first gay speaker."
Yeah, that kind of makes me angry.
I was like, "What?"
Because
am I your first Black speaker? Do you have your first Asian speaker? Like, are we labeling everybody?
Yeah, that was a little frustrating when I found that out. Just because I, it's such a personal and deep process for a person to go through. And especially, I come from a high demand religion, and putting all of those things together and trying to find a way to live an authentic life, and how to present that in a fashion that helps to educate people and inform them, and without, I don't want to say without offending too many, but to be able to present the real me
Mhm.
in India and what I'm doing. Yeah, I was muddled. That was muddled's a good word. I was just muddled.
You were muddled, yeah, it was interesting, and I saw that confusion and the
Well, and so many
disconnect.
voices, everyone giving their input on what it should be, or what, like, that part was confusing as well.
Well, that's the point where, like, we had no relationship, I, like, knew you from being in the group, but I pulled you and I was like, "What do you want to say?"
Yeah.
A very simple question, but it's a really hard question. Like, I was
Well,
just like, what do you really wanna say?"
and we had 3 minutes. We had 3 minutes to say it. And I love that you said that. Like, I hear you. Like, I hear what you're saying, and I have a pretty good feel on you. And can I? I love you're like, can I just take your words and
Are you open to some
yeah,
feedback?
yeah, yeah. Let me help you pull out of you what it is you're trying to say.
But you know what I always say? I think it's really hard to see the picture when you're in the frame.
I agreed.
So it was very easy for me to see that what you wanted to say wasn't coming out, and you felt like you were not being authentic. So yeah, that's why I was like, "Give me what you wrote. Let me take a look." I'm a third party,
Right? Not
right?
emotionally attached to it.
No, I have no dog in this fight. Like, let me just see what you want to say, and let's figure out how you can say it in a way that's compelling and, more importantly, in alignment with who you are, which is who you are.
Yeah, I appreciate that you know that about me, that how I show up in one place is how I show up in every place. I just I just know how to be me, and I'm on a journey to have deeper understanding of that, what it means to be Jennifer Saunders, and then to allow, those lessons for myself to spill over into other people's lives as well.
All right, so talk through that process, that speech, because I think the speech is a metaphor for how we walk through life, right? How you honor yourself and your values. Um, how you stay true to yourself in the face of all those voices. Like, there was a bunch of people telling you what you should say,
Yeah.
but you found your way to what you wanted to say. So
Well,
there's a journey there that's worth talking about because I think a lot of people can learn from it.
yeah, it kind of comes down to, you just start thinking the big picture. You just start writing your first shitty drafts, and then narrowing things down and really getting into the crux of out of your brain and into your heart. And we had these moments where we had an opportunity to stand with several of our group members and practice our speeches, and are we saying words correctly in the
Mhm.
Hindi language, and are we getting our point across, just all of those things. And then we left. So after the first one, Tammy leaned down the table and said, I don't even remember what you said. Are you open to feedback?
I
And
think I said, "Are you open to some feedback?"
yeah, I lied with a smile on my face and said yes, because I wasn't ready yet. And we went to a meeting outside the hotel, came back, and had an opportunity to meet again with the same people, and without any corrections, stand and give the same speech. And in my mind, I just kept thinking, why would I give the same speech? Nothing has changed in it. I would
Mhm.
I would be saying the same thing. And so I intentionally waited to go last. I listened to everyone else give their speeches again, and I was mustering up a little courage, to be like, because when it came time for me, my name was called, and I just looked at the facilitator and I just said, I'm not giving my speech. And they looked at me, and I said, why would I give the same one I gave 2 hours ago without any corrections? That's not going to help me. And I just said, there's so many voices and opinions going on about how this should be written, and I'm not going to give it. So they
You
had
were
they had me
you were
sing instead.
such a rebel. I loved it. There was like, I don't know, 7 of us, and they called Jen's name, and she was like, "No, I'm not speaking. I'm not playing your reindeer games because I'm
Yeah,
not ready to."
yeah,
Which I thought was brilliant because you totally changed the tenor, which is what we need to do in life sometimes, right? You
absolutely.
you become defiant and potentially you start a movement, which is exactly what you did. We all were like, "Yeah, you know what? We're not giving our speeches again either. We're gonna sit and write and workshop
Well, we changed the whole outcome of the rest of the entire day, and actually the outcomes of the rest of the
the
trip,
entire thing." Yeah.
because we then made it about us instead of somebody else.
So, were you scared when you were working on like the new yeah, so we could be transparent. So I said to Jen, like, I think you should go have dinner and give me your speech
Yeah,
because I'm not you. And I think I know what you're trying to say. So let me take a shot at it.
yeah.
How did that feel?
That was man, it's kind of like handing your baby over to a babysitter for the first time, you know? It's like
Mm,
it's like taking a piece of this very intimate piece of you and saying, this is, this is the baby inside me, and I'm going to hand it over to someone else to um to
to
possible
raise.
judgment, yeah, like change up, correct, all of the, all of the then training and thinking that has played in, like, wait, this is mine. And then I remembered, like, wait a second, she's asking to assist with what I've done to help hear it and mold it and bring out what I've said more. And I was surprised. I was actually able to find this space of peace where I very easily handed over my heart to I want to say, like, the potter or the silversmith, and the person who just knew how to make what I was saying more pure.
Well,
They're
in
just
the meaning, it wasn't just what you were saying, it was what you were feeling.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, by the way, I immediately started freaking out. So you went to dinner. You took my daughter to dinner. Like, you guys were, I was up in the room. Like, I was like, why
Yeah.
did I offer to do this? This is so
Right.
crazy.
I know.
I was freaking out. Like, trying to interpret somebody's heart is a very big challenge, but I think it's something that we should all work on.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
and
how do you interpret somebody's intentions?
yeah. And interpreting the heart or feeling through the heart is that's big duty, because it requires, and this is what Righteous Rebel's all about, is one, coming back home to your own heart, so that then you have space to sit with other people's hearts. And it requires us to feel. And most of us are really afraid to feel. So the fact that you said, I see you, I feel something, I'm willing to go deeper, was absolutely incredible. And then to hold basically my heart in your pen.
Yeah, that was, by the way, first time I've ever done that. Like, I'm a consultant, so I have a lot of experience interpreting people's vision or interpreting their business strategy,
Yeah,
but taking somebody's heart and trying to make sure, like, trying to put that down in a way that the world receives it, that was a challenge. And I think it's an interesting skill that we can probably build.
absolutely.
Like, you can
Absolutely.
actually build that muscle. It's like empathy, but at a whole nother level of empathy.
It's yeah, I was gonna say it's empathy on crack.
But yeah, we don't support that here on this show, but yes, I
Well,
agree. No, I'm kidding.
crack could be caramel or caffeine.
Yep, wine. No, I totally get it. Hey, listen, let's take a quick break.
Perfect.
When we come back, want to dive into what it means to be a righteous rebel. So we'll
Awesome.
be back in just a second.
6 years ago when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose Visit Soulivity.com now.
Hey, welcome back to Tammy's Table. Want to encourage you, if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, you could drop your comments in the chat and we can respond in real time. We are back with my very special friend and guest, Jen Saunders. You still there?
I'm still here. I was just dancing, listening to you talk, being so excited that I get to be here with you at Tammy's Table.
You are so amazing. All right. So listen, I have had the pleasure of being completely immersed in your spirit for just over 10 days, like about 10 days. What does it mean to be a righteous rebel? You are one.
Oh my gosh.
But how do you define that? Let's stick with that, because I have a million questions for you, but how do you define that? How do you know if you're a righteous rebel?
I think a righteous rebel is, for me, speaking in regards to myself, it's the person who, we grow up with all of the same conditionings. We go to school. Many of us probably practice a religion or some kind of spiritual practice. And we're taught and we're conditioned by the people who love us in all of their best meaning ways to teach us how to be a good person, how to, what it means to be an adult and to be a good citizen and to be just a good human. And in that process, we often tend to lose ourselves. And just with, again, just good intentioned people sharing what they feel like they should be sharing and guiding us through. And really what a righteous rebel is it's the person who recognizes that they've been taught a lot of good things, and they've also been taught a lot of things that maybe don't really work for them, or how their heart works, or how their mind works, or how they want to show up, or how they're called to show up in the world. And so it requires this space where you of wanting and knowing you've got to go inside and learn how to find your own heart, how to listen to the voice, your voice, that's calling you to the things that you were sent to this planet to do, to use your gifts and your talents and your abilities to create and to share magic and just give the gifts that only you know how to give. And a lot of times that requires going against the grain of all of the things that you've been taught. For me, it required this, shy. I was very shy person with a lot of talents and abilities. Oh yeah. To learn how to stand up and use my voice, and to use it in a way that was nourishing for myself and nourishing for the people who I associate with. My goal is to always leave people better than I found them. And it's what I love about this concept of Tammy's Table is we take what we learn and we share it, and we help improve one life at a time. And by so doing, we help improve the world. And so being a righteous rebel is this, it's not a in your face. It's not I'm going to show you, or I'm just, we think of a rebel and we think that they're out causing trouble, and it's not about that. Although people may look at it as causing trouble, it's us learning how to come home to ourselves, how to really live alive, how to face down our fears, and to just keep taking the steps until we recognize, there I am. And to speak from that place instead of all the fears that have been placed upon us.
Okay, that's so deep. That was a mic drop. But let's sit at the table together. Let's say we're at the table, right? We're at the table. There's some elders there. There's some young people there. Different races, mostly women, I would say, in the kitchen, cooking, music's playing. And I say, Jen, give me a couple of core values that a righteous rebel will hold.
The first one that comes to mind is trust. And it's first, trust yourself. The person you can trust the most is yourself. is a concept I taught my kids from really little, and it's something that I wasn't taught. I had to learn it. Is from the time they were tiny, I would say to them, you are allowed to trust yourself. Only you know what's best for yourself. I can teach you, and I will teach you from my experience, but you have to know how to trust yourself even more than you trust me.
Mm,
I think that's something that we're just not taught. And so
yeah.
when we're faced with these opportunities to trust ourselves, especially in the big decisions, instead of going out and asking your friends or asking your spiritual leader, which I'm not saying that's important as well. Those sounding boards are important, but it's knowing that you can trust yourself to follow your own heart and your own spirit and the things that it's calling you to do above
That's
anybody else.
that's so great. I took Bria to go look at colleges
Oh,
a
wow.
couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that's crazy. She's going to be 17 tomorrow. Um, and she said, like, I don't know what I want to major in. I don't know what I want to do. Like, it was like, I was like, listen, your spirit knows what you want to focus on.
Right?
Lean into it. I don't have your answer. Like, there's no answer on Google or Chat GPT. Like,
For
it's
sure.
already inside of you, right?
And
So we just need to
if
make
you need some
space.
time, take it.
Yeah. Need some time, take it. You need some space, take it. But I think we all already have the answers to the hardest questions that we have.
I think we do too. It's a matter of, I'm in a situation right now where um I'm getting the opportunity to practice what I preach and be super honest with myself and decisions that I've made and why I'm in some situations that I'm in. And I think it's more of we don't want to hear the answer because it might cause some pain and it might cause some waves, but
Hmm.
we have to trust ourselves. We have to trust our hearts.
Absolutely. So listen, I want to talk about, well, let me put you back on the spot. We're still at the table. Give me one
Okay,
more lesson that you're going to share with like the group at the table.
man,
One more value, one more something.
I was thinking through this. Confidence, Marikai, but I think it lands on grace. I
Ooh,
think it
that's a
lands
good
on
one.
grace. And that's, you know, giving yourself just a little more space to feel and to love on yourself and to recognize that you're doing the absolute best that you know how to do in any given moment. And how do I know that? Because if you could do better, you would be doing better, and I don't even like the word better, you would be doing different.
Hmm.
And this concept of when we can allow ourselves that added measure of grace, life changes because we allow other people that added measure of grace and to recognize that they're doing the best they know how to do. That makes me emotional. They're doing the
Yeah.
best they know how to do in that particular moment. And it just allows, again, space to move and feel from the heart for the people around us. It doesn't mean we have to agree or we have to jump on board, but we can say, wow, I wonder what their experience has been that they're showing up that way today, and we can just send love and grace and move on. Move
Oh
on if
my
we're
God.
called to move
I love you. My I don't know what you call her, my outlaw, my former mother-in-law.
on. Yeah, sure.
Um, she taught I don't get along with my mom at all. And at one point something went down and she said to me, in your heart, you have to feel that she's doing the best she can with what
Yeah,
she has right now.
yeah, that's
And
such a
that
good
was
thing.
such a yeah, grace is such a great word, and that is such a good lesson. It allows us to forgive more easily, right? If you say,
Oh,
like, you know what, they're doing the best they can right now.
for sure. For sure.
Um,
Like that's just dang.
yeah, that was deep. She taught me that a very long time ago, and I still live by it.
I just
So,
when I learned to do that, I can honestly tell you that my life changed and my world changed, my worldview changed, and you know what? I don't get it perfect because I wear skin. I get the opportunity to be human just like everybody else, but I know it, and when I practice it, or I pull that tool out and hone it more, like things change. Life becomes sweeter. People become sweeter.
Well, and it becomes more peaceful because you're not holding
Yeah.
on to stupid shit,
Yeah, right.
you know?
We don't have room. We don't have room or time for that anyway. There's too much amazing stuff to get busy with.
Exactly. So speaking of getting busy, let's talk about your adventures. Like
Oh my gosh.
so Righteous Rebels basically does outdoor adventures to build like your inner spirit and your inner strength. Talk to me about your adventures and how they can help build resilience.
Yeah. So this started with my own personal adventures, learning how to run. I'm a long distance runner. I've run up to a distance of 100 miles. And it was this life
Okay,
changing
Forrest
moment.
Gump.
Yeah, 100 miles.
Run, Jan,
I,
run.
I learned how to, I didn't use music. So I learned how to be with myself for hours and hours on end. And, I climbed the Grand Tetons, and I had this opportunity to do hard things. And I thought, wow, I can overlay this amazing hard experience and what I'm learning about perspective and strength, and taking one tiny baby step after another to the top, and facing the fear of, hanging on a rope and climbing up chimneys and looking down to what could possibly be my death. And those experiences changed me, and it built this seeing the world in a different way. It changed my perspective. It helped me understand that, standing on top of a mountain that's 13,770 feet tall, looking down on the valley where you live, just, you feel so much bigger and you see things differently. And so that's the experiences that we are creating for you, the listener, and for you, Tammy and Brian, and whoever else is listening, is that I love this idea. The physical body learns the slowest. Our mental, emotional, spiritual bodies all learn pretty quickly. It's our physical bodies that learn slowly. And so I love this concept of taking experience. I love experiential learning, and I love the nature learning. It's so beautiful and perfect and natural, and putting them together so that when we're out doing an experience, so the two we've put together, one will include some horseback riding, river rafting. We're going to do hot pulls on the river and pictographs, and put you in places that feel a little bit scary so that you can learn to face that fear and recognize that it's not going to kill you, but it gives you an opportunity to have a conversation with it and hear what it's trying to teach you, because it's trying to teach you something. And then how to keep taking those baby steps all the way through the experience, getting behind the guardians of the mind that are saying, you can't do this, I'm here to keep you safe, and to recognize that, no, I'm far bigger and far greater and stronger than any of this that I'm experiencing. And so that when you walk away and you step back into your, I'm air quoting, real life, you recognize that you just came from your real life, and that anything that shows up in your everyday living, you already know how to master, because you did the hard thing in a physical, experiential kind of way.
Oh my God, Jen, I love you so much.
Oh, our second
That's
one
so
is
deep.
a six-day river trip, like rafting, where we're going to teach you all kinds of things about what I just said, and leadership as well.
Yeah, I love these trips. So Jen has a trip from June 7th to June 11th in Idaho, which is the horseback riding and rafting trip.
Yeah, we're calling that Travel to Greatness, giving you different opportunities and ways to travel inside of your greatness to expand your comfort zones.
All right. And then August 14th through the 19th is totally on the river.
Totally right? On the river. You'll spend one night in the lodge, and then the rest of the time is on the river for all like 100 miles.
I'm pretty sure I'm just going to come to your house and stay with you and not do all of this. No, I'm only kidding. I love the concept. I think it is tremendous. I am somebody that has done adventure, I think accidental adventures that have helped me like find my resilience and find my strength. But Jen, I challenged you, which I'm going to put another challenge out there. I want to do an adventure on the air with our listeners.
Yes.
To show them what the experience could be.
Yes. I
Are you down?
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm totally down. Totally
All
down.
right. All right, cool. So Jen is going to be teaching. So in addition to Tammy's Table, you can go to tammygains.com, and we are launching a virtual university that is all about building resilience. And Jen's going to be one of our trainers.
Whoop, whoop.
So I am super excited to use virtual reality to bring this all to pass. Listen, girl, thank you so much for your wisdom
thank
and for
you.
sharing yourself with us.
This has been a pleasure, and I look forward to it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to suck you right back in. Listen, we are live every Monday at 12 o'clock lunchtime, Tammy's Table, Gab, Grub, and Growth. We look forward to hearing you back again next week. Thank you.
Take care.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.